Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy DJ Fanatic Beats, content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats. That's PHANATIC, or Sounds for Producers on IG as well. This beat right here, I'm really excited to break it down for you, go over the elements, go over some chords, some melodies, some sound selection, basically things that I chose to do with the beat. This beat actually it's an R&B style. Definitely R&B, but I do hear SZA on it, maybe Her on it, and anywhere along that vein as far as artists. But also on the rap side, I did hear Jid. So if you don't know about Jid yet, check him out. He's definitely super talented, and he does like really melodic beats like this, and it's a storytelling beat as well. So it has a lot of great elements, and as you can see, it's pretty heavy with sounds, and I definitely want to get in there and just show y'all what I did. And this beat is taking off for me. Anyway, hopefully I'm able to inspire you to make something even better, and also just try some of these techniques and experiment with them. So anyway, first sound, let's make sure our snap to grid is on bar so it's easier for me. So the first sound I started with, I think it's a pad, but I did some really nice chords here, so check it out. And there's a little switch up here in the pattern 2. That's already setting the tone. When you make beats, you know, those first couple notes you do sometimes, either a melody or some type of drum pattern. Either way you go, it's okay. Either way you start a beat. But I tend to start with chords because it helps me make melodies. Sometimes I have a melody in my head, or I'll start with a melody and build chords around it. That's usually the way I start. But either way that's comfortable for you, it's all good. Doesn't matter how you start it, doesn't matter how you finish it. It doesn't matter the order that you do it in. Everyone has their own unique way of creating music. So, you know, you don't have to do it a certain way. This is just the way I do it, and it comes natural for me. So after that, obviously some really nice sounds. The second part was actually just an octave up, and it almost gave a different, it almost sounded like different chords, and it's the same chords. So you can always use the same chords and make it an octave up. That's a little tip for y'all that you can use in your productions. So the next thing, obviously, you can look at the notes here. I created a melody that I felt that goes well with those chords. So check it out. Nice. And notice the sound selection of it too. I didn't have like the same frequencies. Notice the melody was a lot lighter and actually higher in pitch as well. So it's complementing what I already did, and it's also adding to it. It feels right. And you know, like when you're making music and it feels right, there's no question. And having that feeling translates to your audience and to others. And hopefully it translates to you too, so that way you're feeling it so far. So the next thing, I think it was a pad that I added in, so let's check it out. Yeah, it's another pad to layer give like some background ambience, whatever way you want to pronounce it. Check it out. And it's just not any pad. Let's play it by itself. There's a lot of movement in this sound. It reminds me of like monks. They have or some type of ethnic horn that is on top of a mountain or something. It has a lot of oscillators in it. You can hear it moving and reverberating. So that movement in the background also adds to what's going on. So let me play the three together. Wow, already I can just play, I can loop this part right here and just play this all day. But anyway, I definitely want to show you the rest of the things I did. So the next sound, of course, I actually used the same chords, just layered it a bit with another pad. So you got a lot of lush things going on here. So check it out. I'm gonna solo it. Of course, another pad that has a lot of movement in the actual sound, and I think it's another pad. No, I actually chose to use like a electronic keyboard. This one's kind of like a Rhodes, and to give it that soulful feel, like that you know, I know who used Rhodes a lot was back in the day was D'Angelo, also Anthony Hamilton a lot, and you know, a lot of younger R&B artists are using it as well, like her. SZA has a lot. It's like a cross. The Roots use it tons of times. It's all over the place. So if you haven't heard about the Rhodes, now you have it. It's an electric piano. There's a lot of tradition behind it, and you can get some really nice things musically out of it. So I thought I'll add it to give it that extra soul. So I'm gonna play that by itself in honor of the Rhodes. Check it out. And there's just this softness about it, this rumble about it. And sometimes if you take the let's highlight all the chords, and if you lower the velocity, you'll get a different soft sound out of it. See? And some plugins have that I think it's kind of like harshness. Let's undo that. There we go. Basically, if you raise the velocity of whatever instrument, it'll play it harsher than just the sound or whatever. So let's see where we're at. There we go. Cool. So you got the Rhodes. These are all the sounds so far, the first 5, and that's pretty much all the musical content. And then we get into some drums and some other coloration things that I did. So here we go. Yeah, that is just, man, that's romantic right there. That's sweet. So next thing I added, I think it was like an arp. So we'll find out. Oh, come on, somebody. So this is what I did with this sound. Now it sounds kind of crazy by itself, but what I did is take the same chords and made an arp out of it. I showed this in another video, but let me show you right quick. You can select all and then Alt A, and you have some arpeggiation. That's a quick shortcut to make arpeggiation based out of chords, and you can mess around with the time multiplier, the range, the type of pattern. The sync I usually leave the same. The gating, you can mess around with all these parameters and come up with something dope. And it's cool to do in certain beats, and you can put in the background. That's a dope tip for y'all. Have fun with it. It's definitely dope. And you can get some really creative stuff out of there. And that's what I came up with this. And it sounds so dope with the rest of the sounds. So take a peek. could have taken that up an octave. Hey, let's see what it sounds like. I'm doing this on the fly for y'all. Check it out. Not feeling it. It's a little much. If I hit it in the background, maybe. So there we go. That's most of the musical elements, and then we started getting to some drums. So and also I try to figure out what type of pattern I wanted to do with this, so you just kind of feel it out. Pretty straightforward pattern, nothing too crazy with the kick, and I just added the snare in. Of course, the kick and the snare, everything I do, every sound I put in a beat, I'm gonna give y'all some. Every sound I put in a beat, I make sure I pitch it to the key that it is. Even drums, especially drums, because sometimes you'll have a kick or snare way out of key, and I mean, I hear it on the radio. I mean, people won Grammys off of it. Anyway, it just helps your beats sound that much more professional when you tune it to the actual key. And sometimes it's hard to do because you don't know what note, but trust your ear. Pitch it up, pitch it down until it sounds just right. So these were pitch, and you can tell on the snare I delayed it. Let's see, where's the snare at that we use? It's a layered snare. So in FL Studio, there's other ways of doing it. Go to wrench tool and use shift. So what I did was shift it off the grid and a little further behind the actual grid. This one I shifted it way far. It's like a rim shot that's really in the background, just to add a little layer to it, and it gives you that neck snap. That like, oh, this is off beat, but it sounded good. And if you listen to it with the metronome, notice how it hits after the metronome, like after the beat. You can hear the snare delayed. That, I'm telling you, using shift on almost any sound gives it that groove, that uniqueness of you. So the next sound, it's a clap on every other beat. Next sound. Now hi-hats, they're underrated because it gives you, is there space like right before the clap, and it makes that clap feel a little more emphasized. So notice this hi-hat where I put it. It's on the end of every other beat. You feel me? So the next sound, I think this was like a percussion element with a lot of reverb. Hear it? So there we go. And next thing I did was added some hi-hats. Let's turn these off. It's a little trick you can do is actually make, you know, whatever note you think the hi-hat would be on in a key, but also make it a lower note. Basically what I'm doing is making it sound like it's two different hi-hats, and also I'm lowering the velocity on the other ones as well. So I made a higher row and a lower row and lower the velocity on one as well. So you can get very creative with little things like that. And of course, notice it's shifted off the grid as well to give it that drag effect, like, you know, the drag effect or like the slow down effect. It's delusional, but it's there, and it makes you, it sounds more human. So and the next thing I added was another hi-hat where I did some small hi-hat rolls. Yeah, just like little things like that, man. I think that's why this beat is just going crazy, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So the next thing I think was like a vocal chant. Yep. track 14. Here it comes right here. Okay, so next I added a bass, and let me figure out what I did for bass for this with sound. I think I used Contact. Or was it 808? Maybe an 808. Yeah. And I used the hold parameter for this. The hold parameter, basically you can lower all your parameters here, and I think I left the attack up for a reason, to have like a glide into the sound, and use hold based on how long you want your sound to hold. So I use that so I can kind of use this long 808 as like a bass, like almost like a string bass, but I use it as a sub bass, and I use it very musically. So we're gonna play it and see what you think. Oh my God, this beat is crazy. I hope you're feeling it as much as I am. Let's see. Next thing I wanted to show you. I didn't do any slides with that. It almost sounds like a slide. Let me check something. Nope. Oh, here we go. I did a slide. So this pattern is a pattern of the bass. Let's just play the pattern by itself. It goes da-do, da-do. Basically, any note you want it to slide to, you double tap and click this little button, and you can do that way. There's another way you can do it in FL Studio, but that's a quick way you can do it. So and also it slides to that note under that duration, like how long you want it to take to get to that note. See? So at the end point, that's when it's hitting the note completely. I could have made this slide too. Well, it wouldn't make sense because it's not sliding from anything. But you know, experiment, trial and error, and you'll master it. So that's all the sounds in the actual beat, and I'm gonna highlight here, loop this part anyway, and show you some of the mixing choices I made. There's tons of pads, so I decided to, this first one, let's EQs. I did some craziness too, not too crazy, but of course I cut the lows. I didn't want any low frequencies. I did a soft curve on the highs and cut down some of this mid section to make it a little more hollow. Then I added reverb. This is without, kind of dry and simple, and that's with reverb, so it sounds a little airier. And with this sound, the melody, I believe, yep, I'm not gonna go in detail of everything, but EQ just cut the lows. I did some reverb, delay 3, where it's ping pong delay, so it's bouncing around, and I use halftime to give it like an underlining melody, and I panned it to the right. This sound, just EQ'd, cut the lows and the highs. This pad, same thing, cut the lows and the highs. And the reason why I'm cutting those frequencies is to make room for other sounds that I want to use in that space. Shockingly, I left a lot of this low frequency, which I should have cut, for the Rhodes anyway. And for the ARP, and notice I kept that straight up. Basically the sounds, I try to listen to hear a balance. I use the same frequencies to figure out what I want to do right or left, and when in terms of panning. With the ARP, I did a stereo separation full, so it's going all left to right really wide. And I could have cut some lows. The sound was already dope. So with the drums, my bad, I used Fruity Soft Clipper, and I probably let's see what I did. Yeah, I used the volume multiplier. It's a little trick you can do to help your drums hit a little harder, and I think I layered that. Yeah, see, I got 2 kicks, so I layered them together to give it a little more punch. I got 3 snares. The hi-hat, open hi-hat was straight up, and I think I panned some of the other hi-hats in the channel rack. No, I left those the same. So the hi-hats are just straight up as well, and the vocal effect, reverb, and delay 3 to give it some space, and 808 is sidechained to the kicks. And I just cut some highs off the 808, and I didn't actually have to do too much to that 808 as far as the sound that I wanted to get out of it. So that's it for the mixing. And the mastering I turn off because of the video. Don't want like total stuttering, but I used iZotope products for mastering. There's tons of different ways to master. You know, you can use FL Studio stock plugins and make some awesome mastering sounds. I just familiar with iZotope. I've been using it for a while, and you know, it's some fancy stuff that you can get lost in, and once you find certain things you can do, you know, that's what I do in them. So I'm gonna leave that part out because you won't be able to hear it because it'll be stuttering like crazy, and the processing power is insane. So shooting the video and playing those type of processing, I could figure it out, but it may take a while, so don't want to bore you to death. So anyway, that's all the sounds and some of the mixing choices that I made, and I think it sounds dope, man. So I'm gonna hit the play button so you hear the intro, the chorus, and some of the verse, so you can vibe out and enjoy what was created here. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I taught you something. Hopefully you're inspired to make something right now. And yeah, get your chord game up, because that's what I've been working on too, as you can hear, because using this one chord throughout the beat made this beat. I think that's the signature element. It was just like starting out with something dope. Anyway, I'm done talking. Enjoy it. God, yo, this thing is crazy. Notice there's a lot of movement during the verse. There's certain things to take out and put in. Make sure you do that with your beat, so that way, you know, there's movement and your listener's not bored to death with the same loop or the same sound you use. Have movement, add things out in, take things out, make it breathe. That's what it is. It's breathing. And when they say let it breathe, that means the beat breaks down and certain elements are out, or the drums come out, whatever. Notice there's so much movement going on in here. So, and also I did switch up the bass line a little bit here. I didn't let that play in the video, but yeah, just little things like that. Usually all my verses are different. I'll do a different style, different thing than the first verse. That's just my style. You don't have to do that. That's just something, you know, you can do. It's your music, so feel free to experiment with it and pay attention to details like that, because that's what sets you apart. And I definitely wanted to show you this video and not keep it to myself. I want to give it to the producer community, so that way y'all can learn and be inspired and just try different things. So definitely this beat, man, I can hear SZA just singing on this, man, just going ham with it. So anyway, again, it's DJ Fanatic Beats, content contributor for LiveOffBeats.com. You can follow me at Instagram at DJ Fanatic Beats, or Sounds for Producers as well. So keep making dope music. Hopefully this video learns something. Go at it and have a great day. Peace.